Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another great episode of Bahrain Now, your source of local initiatives, happenings, talents, and trends. I'm your host, Khalid Hijris, here to walk you through our exciting lineup of segments and personalities from around Bahrain. So don't go away, we'll be right back. The interest in collecting toys and customizing them has skyrocketed since adults who played with them started to rebuild their childhood collections. Mr. Jassim Malik is a highly talented artist who customizes and transforms toys and collectibles from science fiction, adventures, fantasy, and horror worlds into handmade works of art. We would like to welcome him to the studio today to take us on a trip to explore more about this very interesting and creative craft. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So could you tell us a little bit about where this interest started?
Actually, this interest started when I was a kid, like cartoons, movies, and like that. I get a normal toy and I try to like beat it up and scratch it a little bit so it looks like it was beat up. And mostly from like magazines when you see a fight. So I was imagining that one day I can learn on how to build and paint this kind of details on a toy. So it was very interesting for me and I love doing it, but for me I started to do it only when I was 39, so it's like 2 to 3 years ago. It was a dream that anyone has it, they have to start doing it since they are young, because no worries, always you can do things, you will do mistakes. The fun thing about it, it's you can do any mistake that you want to do and you can cover it up. Because it's a custom collectible and you can damage it as the way you want.
That's amazing, and I can even see like some of the scratches on the stuff looks very realistic, like it actually got into a fight.
Yeah.
When you're working on a project, how long does it usually take for you to complete one project?
It depends. See, the projects sometimes, if they are very simple, like you can see the Star Wars Stormtroopers, they are very simple, but the issue is sometimes when you paint, you have to do layers of paint. You cannot do the paint at the same time. Like you do the white, you do the black, then you have to wait till it dries, then you have to do some detailing, some oil and like mud, then you have to wait again, then you have to do it like a beat up old plastic or old steel, so you have to put some powders in it, dab it a little bit with, sometimes even I use coffee grains or shoe polish as aging material, so you can age a thing. So you have to wait. So probably small project will take you 2 to 3 days to complete because you are mostly waiting for the paint to dry. A big project like the Hulkbuster, it almost took me around 3 weeks, 4 hours, 3 hours a day, except Friday as a holiday, taking a holiday for myself as well.
So it's really amazing to hear how dedicated you are and how much time you put into it. Can you tell us now a little bit more about what are the resources, what are the tools that you use?
The resources are basically, they are toys. You have to find a toy with potential, we call it. Like I look at the toy, I imagine what I can do with it. Sometimes the toy will look so bad, the coloring is bad, the detailing is very bad on it, but the plastic, it's good. There is a plastic details on it. With dry brushing and working on it, you will get the result that you want. The other thing is usually we use normal paint. It's a plastic paint. Like I have them over here. I just bought 2 of them. So we have like one of them is the Tamiya paint and Stestros paint. So it's our like normal acrylic paint. So anybody can buy them. They are non-toxic, they are water-based, they are safe to use. And normal painting brush, we can use normal painting brush. Toys, I use like wood chip, I use like what we call it, ice cream sticks. You can use like leathers, even rocks from the street and sand. So anything that you can find, you can imagine, you can work with. And there's a lot of videos. There's a lot of videos now on YouTube, and even on my channel, I just put how to create a plastic, to do it, scratches, how to do bricks from foam, like condensed foam, things like that. There's a lot of people, a lot of videos you can watch and learn. And as you pick up the trade, you can think about items that you want to use to build up your project.
It's really incredible to me that you've taken something like that you've had an interest in since childhood and really brought it to life. Was there a very specific type of media that really got you into this interest?
Let's talk about like a few years back. I started to watch videos on YouTube. People are doing this kind of things, and I always was thinking like, yeah, I cannot do it. It's too difficult for me. I was not confident because we don't have that trade in Bahrain. We don't have custom collectibles. We don't have people who are customizing toys. Maybe we have other kind of things they are doing, artists thing, but the custom collectibles, the damaged toys, this kind of things, I never find anyone in Bahrain who was doing them, so I was not confident. This is a European thing, an American thing, and we don't have the talent for it. But as soon as I started doing it, it was the Hulkbuster, the huge Hulkbuster. And I reached half of the project. I was so scared that I cannot do it. But mainly because I was watching videos, YouTube, people who was doing it, and I said, you know, I can do it too. So I started with the first one. I had a lot of good feedback. People loved it. They did not even believe I did it. So I showed them the video, the whole process video, and they were amazed. So it gave me the boost and confidence to start doing other projects.
And I mean, your hard work shows. And I do want to talk a little bit about the feedback. Like, you've mentioned that you have a channel and you share the process and everything. How has the feedback also been from like your friends and your family?
The feedback from my family is positive, and like my family, they sometimes, you know, our family are old school. They do not, what are you doing? Why you're breaking the toys? It's a very clean, good toy. Why you're doing this to it? But since I was a kid, when they see me when I was damaging toys or things, it was, I'm a bad kid. I'm damaging toys, but nobody knows what's in your brain. So. From friends, no, a lot of my friends are supporting me and helping me, and even sometimes they sharing my work. If I send to them, they share my works, they give me positive feedback. Usually it's good feedback, and they say, yeah, that's great, let's do this, why you're not doing this? So it's amazing.
I'm really glad to hear that, and you know, to be able to share your work, especially with people you care about, or even just other people to follow in your examples. I mean, you know, that's an amazing thing that we can do now thanks to social media. Now, you mentioned actually that you used to watch people. Perform these kinds of crafts. Is there any specific creator that comes to mind when you think of your own journey?
Yeah, because I started watching a guy called Chris Custom Collectibles. He's from Australia. And when I watched him build the Hulkbuster actually, and I said, I have to do it. I can do it, I will do it, but I will do it on a platform. I will do this and I will do that. So he was one of the first people that I was watching. Still I'm watching, and I follow up and I see what kind of things that he does. And I felt like, yeah, because he makes the like the toys and things, I learned from him how to do the weathering with what we call it shoe polish. So you don't have to go and break the bank and buy like a washer paint or something like that, or 4 or 5 dinars, and it's a small bottle that you are afraid of using. You just can go with the black shoe polish, add water to it a little bit. Then I added like coffee to do some maps. When I do old maps, I use actually coffee and dirt, mix it with water, and you put it on a thick A4 paper, and you make it look like an old, and you have to bake it actually.
You have to bake it?
Yeah, I bake it a little bit in the oven. So when you finish, you see the whole house smells like coffee, an earthy smell, because there's a little bit of sand and coffee in it, so it's nice.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you cook it because it's make the paper hard and it looks like an old leather or old paper which is from Western or a cowboy or things like that.
I wish you had told me that much earlier because I had a history project where I had to make a diary look like it had aged if I knew about the baking thing.
Bring the diary, don't worry. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I really like as well the way that when you look at objects like or tools like coffee or even a shoe cleaner, you have a very different use for it. You know what I mean? So can you
Yeah.
tell us what are some other everyday objects that you use in your craft?
We can use, let's just say, can go with this. This is actually a piece of cloth for to dry a car. The buttons are actually a clip, a wooden clip. Those are washers for a toilet pipe, I think, something like that. So the same thing with wood. Those are stones, carved stones. Those are like gloves, I think worker gloves that you can buy it for, I think 500 fils, something like that. So you can use all of those things just to create this. And this is a clay, normal clay. Anything you can find anywhere, actually you just think about it, there's another use for it. I use stones, I use sand, I use sometimes frames, like picture frames, if I need to do something, but I don't use it as a picture frame. I use it as a base, so I can put things on top of it. And I have the nice frame that I can fill with sand and rocks and things like that. Or a clear acrylic epoxy, just to make it looks like a wave or sand. Actually, I had one, but it was sold. It was Castaway Tom Hanks.
Okay.
Yeah, with his raft and the toilet door at the back.
Wow.
Yeah, and he was in the sea, so I had to put some clays and things like that inside the frame to make it look like a sea with toilet paper. Yeah, you just put toilet paper, you just put white glue on it, and you just dab it. Then it will be like wavy. Then you can shape it little by little, so it will look like slow wave coming up. Then you let it dry, then you can color it. First, we go with very dark green. To be honest, people do not think when you're trying to make a sea, you go very dark green, then little bit of blue on top of it, then light blue, then clear. Then on the top of the clear, you just put whites on certain high area, so it will show like a wave of foam on the wave. So this is something I picked up when I was watching a video of how they were building like movie sets. And if they want to do something on very far away, which color it should be. They just put cloth, then they put water, but I noticed that they put very dark green cloth underneath because sea is not blue actually. It's dark blue and green and a lot of color. So those kind of things I learned and I just tried to implement it. Actually, I did it maybe over 20 times. Did not look good. 21 was good. Yeah.
A lot of trial and error.
Yeah, this is the trade. This is what you have to learn, that when you do something, it will not be perfect the first time. You do it, you will do mistakes, you hide it, you change it, you will break it, then you have to fix it again, a lot of things, which is cool because you're always gonna think outside of the box. So you have to do something, you think outside the box, I damaged this, how to fix it. You cannot stop. You can just add and remove, and in the end you will get the result that you want.
I mean, it's great to see that this passion also teaches you quite a lot. Has anything you've learned from working on your craft ever benefited an unexpected area of your life?
Yeah, sometimes the small, simple solution is better than the complicated one, the smart, complicated one. Sometimes you take a very smart, not the easy solution, even we can call it the dumb solution. It's very easy, very simple. You do it, it will look great, everything, and you go on. That's it. You don't have to complicate things and you don't have to overthink it. Either it's gonna be or it's not gonna be. Sometimes even in life, when you want something, you cannot get it, that's it. Go to the next one, because you don't have to spend all your time, all your effort, or your mental, insanity of chasing something that's not gonna happen. You just move on, you go to the next one.
And I also have to ask you, In particular, now that you've worked on all of these, and by the way, again, I'm completely mesmerized at how high quality these are. When you see actual official merchandise or you see anything that's being sold, how do you view it now that you've kind of you've been working in the back room? How do you view products now?
I see, before I thought, oh, this is amazing, like a Hulkbuster for 558 dinars, 950 fils. I do not I still remember it, but because that is made of steel, made of plastic and steel and things like that. Okay, it looks nice. Well, I'm not gonna pay 500 dinar for a show piece that I'm gonna just put it on the table and people come and say, yeah, nice, and they will go away. Because not everybody will have the culture of, oh, I love Marvel, or I love DC, or I love comics. Not everybody. There's certain people who love this kind of things. So I'm not gonna go and pay 500 dinars. I'll just go pay 8 dinars from Amazon. I'll just bring it here, work on it for 3 weeks, then I have a showpiece to keep it at home. So when my friend goes and they said, yeah, I want that, and I said, you know, like my joystick, I built it, and they said, like, Jasam, how much you will sell it? There is the God of War joystick, actually. It's maybe, I don't know, 40, 50 dinars they will put it, because it's a themed one, but it's only painted. There is nothing on it. And I tell my friend, I can build it. And he said, nah, and I built this one. Now he asked me, can I have it? And I said, no, this is my showpiece. I'm not gonna sell it. I just need to keep it to show that I can do joysticks, which is functional and look like this. Now the next project is either steampunk or Batman themed joystick.
And when you do something like, for example, how do you actually manage to make something like that where you've managed to, you said you included stone, leather.
Yeah.
How do you do that and still keep it functional?
It's a hard work. Actually, this one is because when you opened it, and then there's a buttons. So you don't have to remove the mechanism which is below the buttons, because those are very tiny things and they are precise where to press and everything. See, on the top always is the button that we press. It's only one piece of plastic, so I had to cut it off, then put a piece of wood on it, then I had to sit and carve it till I make it the same shape as a button. Then you burn the logo on it. So this is one thing, and the stone is the same thing. You cut the plastic, only the top button one, you cut it, then you'll take a piece of stone, then you have to keep carving it, pushing it, washing it, till it gets to the same size that you want, then you have to stick it. But all of that takes a lot of time and a lot of work, but it's very satisfying, because when you finish and you said, this button is wood, this button is stone, people will be amazed, like, no, how did you do it? And I said, like, yeah, I can explain it to you. You can go and watch my videos better.
I'll definitely check it out, because it's almost like what you said earlier, but I'm gonna apply it now to a joystick, which is the fact that, I mean, if I were to buy a joystick like that, chances are, if they are gonna put stone or wood, it's all just going to be plastic with a printed texture, and it's not even actually going to have the texture, it's just going to be a look. Whereas you've actually implemented something real onto it. I would be very proud of that, but I mean, to ask you about your personal experience, what project are you most proud of?
Most proud of, from this two, it's going to be the Hulkbuster and the joystick, to be honest, because this was my first one, and this was something that I had to work around electronics, wires and things like that to make it functional, which was very hectic, but I'm very happy that I did it. The rest of them, yeah, I love them. I love every project differently, actually. And when they told me, would you sell them? And I was like, yeah, or no, yes, no, like it's a feeling that it's like a part of the family is leaving. It's like that, because I spend a lot of time building them, and I would love to have a collection, because I do some shows that last year they asked me to come for Comic-Con, which I went. I had this place, people were coming and sitting with me in the Bahrain International Circuit, just to learn how we do it. There's certain people they were standing there and they said, no, we want to buy this and this and this and this. And I said, no, because I'm displaying them. I don't want to sell them at the first day. Last day, they came to me at 6 o'clock. They waited there till 10 o'clock till I finished. Then they said, if we picked it up, exactly, and we walk with you to your car, and our car is next to your car. If we put it in our car, how much I have to pay you? Because I told them I'm not going to sell anything. And on the Comic-Con, and they said, okay. And I said, okay, you know what? This is this much, this much is this much. So they bought them. So 4 items of my collection, when it was Darth Vader, Tom Hanks, and 2 more. So, and I was like, I will build another one. But the good thing is, whenever I build something, I don't replicate it.
So everything is unique.
Yeah, everything is unique. Even if I use the same Funko, but I will do it on a different way. So I'm not going to do it.
Of course, and I can see, like, especially whenever you're doing something handcrafted, I feel like no matter what, you're always going to get a unique result.
Yeah, even if you try to do the same, it will be unique in a certain way.
And I imagine also that, you know, with something so precise and that takes so much effort and so much spirit into it, you probably run into a lot of frustration as well. So could you tell us about some challenges you face and how you overcome them?
Challenges, for me, I'll just break it down on like 3 parts maybe. One of them, it's to get the correct what you call it, paint and things like that. Because some of the paints are not available in Bahrain. We have, most of the paints are for canvas and clay and things like that. We don't have like Tamiya or something for plastic and crafts like that. So I have to order them from like Amazon or eBay. The thing is, they are like $3-4. And to bring them to Bahrain, sometimes they do not ship to Bahrain because those are small niche items. If you want to ship them, you have to pay 7 to 8 BD only for something cost 1 dinar or 1 dinar 200 fils. So this is one part that I had to invest in the beginning. But the paint, you can use it for a long time because you are not using a lot. You're just using small portion of the paint. So you can have it for a month. And the idea is to build and then to do a workshop. The second part is I cannot I don't have a space to work. So I work on the kitchen table or the dining table at my house. I don't have my dedicated space. So always I have to put my things in the box and put them away because I have a 10-year-old and he will go all around the things. Now he's becoming cool and he said, Dad, I'm not going to bother you anymore because always I see, because I work on a project and I have to remove everything. It takes a lot of time. So when you want to come back and I said, I'm not in a mood because you don't have the workshop. The third challenge is we don't have people with a lot of culture of this kind of things here in Bahrain. So that's why sometimes maybe I face challenges that even if I do I go for a show or something, a lot of people, they do not know. And they just come, oh yeah, I can buy this one for 2 dinars from Toys R Us. No, it's not that. It's different. Actually, I bought it for 3 dinars, the Stormtrooper, the Star Wars. So it's 3 dinars. But now if you look at it, it's not going to be sold for 3 dinars because there's a lot of work happened on it. And actually it's built as a character from one of the movies, with the blood on his helmet and things like that. So those challenges are the culture here that we have. The people who only knew about these things are very low. You cannot find a product and I don't have a workshop. And I try to get a workshop, it will be too expensive actually, because you have to rent a place. And to rent a place, you have to build and sell. And this is not my idea, just to build and sell, because when you start just building and selling, you will not do quality things because you just want to build and sell it. So because that's why I want to do unique things when somebody will buy it from me because he loved it, not because I'm selling it.
And I think that's the key word. I mean, when I look at what you've created, they are very clearly labors of love. You've clearly put a lot of thought and time and effort into them. And I do know it can be, especially with certain niche interests, it can, even if you're in a place where with a really high population density, it can be quite hard to find someone who's into the same stuff. Have you managed to create like a community, particularly that now that you share stuff like your process and everything?
Actually, no, because recently I started to do TikTok and I put a lot of videos on Instagram and things like that. It wasn't because I was not confident. I was not confident in doing this, and even I'm not confident in explaining and talking to people on camera like this. It's very hard for me. I can sit and work on it, and if you come sit next to me and I can talk all day. Now when I try to explain, I feel like, oh, okay, I'm saying this correctly or I'm doing this correctly. I'm not used to it because even on my channels I don't speak. If you go and you will see me just recently, I just showed my face, to be honest. Before they can just see my hand or they can see on top of my shoulder till the work. But people told me, no, Jassim, just start talking about it. Even say something small on your videos, talk, explain small things like that. So now I got the confidence to show my face, and when I'm working, hopefully maybe I can go and explain, do some tutorial video and explain and things like that. For me now, they said, okay, TikTok, you can go live. And I said, yeah, because now I'm around like 150 followers, 200 is not a lot. So I have to reach to 1,000 so I can do live videos and I can share my passion with people.
Well, hopefully this experience as well will encourage you to take it even further. You mentioned earlier, I think that you didn't really start doing this like as frequently until you were 39.
30, yeah.
Why was that?
I did not have the confidence that I can build this kind of things. I thought like, maybe people can, maybe I'm good in imagining. I have a very strong imagination, but maybe I cannot do it. So I was afraid to start something and it will show me that, no, you're bad at it, and I will be sad. But the thing is, even if I was bad in it, I'm glad I started. I am glad that I did, and because it's an amazing thing. Even if I fail, I rather now fail doing something I fail and never doing it. So even anyone who has a passion about this kind of things, I think he should do it, because the first time it will look bad, the second time it would look bad. And when I said the Hulkbuster, the big one, took me 3 weeks because I cleaned, repaint, cleaned, repaint again and again and again, because every time I was doing a mistake and did not look good. But in the end, because of all of those repainting and removing and things, then it got a lot of scratches. So the idea came, oh, let's do it battle damage. See, things will come up, you will do it, and it shouldn't be perfect. First, do it for yourself. You don't have to even show it to anyone. Do it once, twice, 3 times, and trust me, whoever will have a passion of building things. We started with Legos, then Lego Technic, then we went for other things, then toys, then anybody who has a passion of this kind of things, they have to go for it, because trust me, I'm a proof that you can do it. And I was not very confident in my painting abilities, but yeah.
And now they could probably be used in an actual movie set, mashallah. I mean, they're really impressive. I'm having actually a hard time keeping my eyes off of them. And I do like what you said, particularly because a lot of people are always afraid to get started. And then once they actually get started, like you said, even when you make mistakes, sometimes that's actually what makes it unique. Do you see a growing interest, particularly with popular culture and especially like with stuff like collectibles?
Yeah, actually, outside of Bahrain, they have committee. Actually, when you go to Comic-Con, people goes in costumes, but here in Bahrain, they started to do Comic-Con for past few years now, and in the beginning was very small. And this year I went, and they even spoke to me, and they told me, okay, we love your work, we want you to come. This couldn't happen 3-4 years ago because there was not a lot of culture about this kind of thing. And they were very supportive. The Comic-Con organizer, they were very nice, and they helped me, and they told me, okay, you can have this area, which is high traffic. We want people to see your work. And it was Mr. Khalid al-Bukhari. He supported me because he was the one who's doing Comic-Con, and I'm very happy, and a lot of thanks for him, because he really helped me when I came and I saw the people loved my work. It pushed me and it gave me more motivation to go forward. And I can see, like before, it was only maybe certain people that were going to Comic-Con. Then now Comic-Con in Bahrain, we had people from Kuwait, we had people from Saudi Arabia, we have people from UAE. They're coming to Bahrain Comic-Con, so it's growing. I think the culture is growing. I think people understand more about toys, collectibles, and things like that, and the handcrafted things than the other things that you can just go and buy from any toy shop, or you can buy it from the toy shop and you can do this.
And I mean, I'm so glad that there's so much support as well, because
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's also part of what makes doing stuff like this so worth it, that you can
Yeah.
share it with people. Is there anything you'd like to share with the audience before we end?
With the audience, yeah, this is a great thing, and I just wanted to share something, because as of now I have a kid. He's 10 years old, and he always, since he was a kid, I tried to just take him out, give him a bicycle, a rollerblade, a skateboard, and he fell and he hurt himself. But the thing is that I wanted to do, even when we go home, I work on those things. He sat with me. I tell him, okay, he comes home and he said, Dad, let's do this. Dad, let's do this. I said, okay, let's do this. And he keeps taking my paint and damaging things and a lot of this kind of things. But for me, it's the message, let them work on craft, let them paint. Even, they don't have to do this. Let them paint on canvas, paint on like vases or anything like this, because now the kids are just sitting in front of the TV, iPad, TV, and PC all day long for 6 to 7 hours on weekends. They don't have any imagination. Their imagination will go away. Now they are kids, but if they don't use their imagination like we were before, I just take a toy, you look at it, you fight it with another toy, and you put some pillows, and you put the toy next to it, and you imagine the pillows are a castle, right? Now kids, they are not doing this. They are just taking the iPad, they look at the iPad. I think this is a good craft, toys, painting toys, even canvases. It's not supposed to be only this. Clays or any other things. Let the kids play with their hands. It's better than iPad, I think.
I totally agree, and you know, if anything, like your craft is anything to go by, I think, and inshallah, a lot of children, and including your son, will be able to create such amazing things, and inshallah, we look forward to seeing more from you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, if you take your passions to a higher level, you can make something out of it, like the amazing craft that we've seen here today. Stay tuned and we'll be right back. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've made it to the finish line. A huge thank you to all of our guests for joining us, and another huge thank you to all of you watching us at home. As always, be sure to reach out to us on our social media accounts shown below. We'd love to hear from you. This was Khalid Idris, and until next time, good day and God bless.